Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Your cooperative had a successful 2018. With strong earnings and capital levels, Farm Credit East has the capacity and commitment to support your business for the future. Much of Farm Credit East's ability to deliver strong financial results is driven by our board of directors. Working with management, these dedicated individuals set the direction for your cooperative. This is why your vote is important. In the next few minutes, you'll hear from each candidate. In early April, we'll ask each stockholder to vote for the one candidate for each seat whom you think will best guide Farm Credit East and keep it successful in the future. The Farm Credit East Nominating Committee did an outstanding job selecting candidates based on their background, commitment to Farm Credit East, and expertise in running a successful business. The 4 seats being considered in 2019 are for 4-year terms. It is now our privilege to introduce this year's 7 outstanding director candidates. 2 candidates are running for the 1st Eastern Region seat. Running for seat 1 in the Eastern Region is Kurt Alstead.
My name is Kurt Alstead, and I'm a full-time farmer here in Chester, New Jersey, which is located in Northwest Jersey, about 45 miles west of New York City. And I'm a first-generation grower, and my business started with a Ford 9N tractor and a pickup truck growing a few vegetables for some restaurants. And today we're farming over 600 acres, the bulk of it tree fruits, small fruits, vegetables, and some ornamentals. A very unique operation that it's all directly retailed to the public. We're doing our own on-site food processing. We have our own mechanics and our own repair shop. We do everything ourselves in-house. I've served in elected office as a township committeeman. I've served on various boards. I currently serve in a statewide regional planning commission appointed by the governor of New Jersey to serve in that role, and I'm vice chairman of that Highlands Council. I've been a volunteer firefighter for 38 years and continue to actively respond to calls. It's been now almost 38 years that I've had a relationship with Farm Credit. They've been involved in many of our major purchases, and we also use a large number of other services from Farm Credit, including business services, extensive use of consulting. Perhaps one of the most significant attributes that I would bring to the board is my diversity of understanding of the industry here in the Northeast. I've grown commodities ranging from cherry tomatoes to watermelons to apples to peaches. Was in the hay business and the grain business, milked cows when I was a kid. Was a small operation, an intermediate operation, and today a very large, complex operation with lots of food processing, direct marketing, and a tremendous workforce. I've experience with labor issues, using H-2A labor, H-2B labor, J-1, high school students, seniors. I bring a tremendous amount of knowledge in the HR side of the ag business that would also benefit this cooperative. Well connected with producers throughout the region, and I think that I'm a farmer from New Jersey who can very adequately and appropriately represent every farmer from every part of our diverse region in the Northeast.
Also running for seat 1 in the Eastern Region is Henry Huntington.
I'm Henry Huntington, owner of Pleasant View Gardens. We're a family business. My family's owned Pleasant View for over 40 years. I'm 2nd generation in partnership with my brother Jeff. And we now have 4 members of the 3rd generation in our company as well. Pleasant View Gardens is a wholesale floriculture business, so we have over 16 acres of greenhouses in multiple locations. 3 years ago, we started a company called Leaf Farms. This was an opportunity for us to diversify now that we have more family members in our business. We've been in the flower business, and this was a chance for us to branch out into the vegetable production business. So we have a 1-acre operation growing salad greens. It's a fully automated operation, which has been a lot of fun, a true startup. A lot of challenges, but that's been a real fun part of what we're doing. I'm on a number of civic organizations, planning board member in our town of Loudon for the last 24 years, past president of one of our national floriculture organizations. I'm a founding member and continue to be chair of the New Hampshire Ornamental Horticulture Endowment, which was an endowment that we raised just for New Hampshire research. We raised over $100,000 in 1 year to create this endowment. I'm in my 6th year as a board member of Farm Credit East, which has been just an amazing experience for me. We have an extremely diverse customer base, and I think it's really important that the board, as best as we can, matches up with the diversity in our customer base. And I think that's one of the things that I've been able to bring to the board, is representing the floriculture industry and the greenhouse industry. And even though I've served just 6 years, I'm one of the longest serving members on our board of directors. We have a lot of big decisions coming. Ag is changing so rapidly, and the needs of our farm members are changing and are very important. And so we need some continuity. We need people that have seen what's happened and what's coming to be able to serve our members in the right way. And I think that I can bring that with my experience on the board.
2 candidates are running for the 2nd Eastern Region seat. Running for seat 2 in the Eastern Region is Thomas Qualey.
I'm Tom Qualey. I'm a potato grower, small grain grower from the Sherman area, southern Aroostook, Maine. We grow 350 acres of chip potatoes and 400 acres of small grains and some hay. We primarily store all these potatoes to be shipped during the winter months to the fry plants on the East Coast. It's a very complex storage systems and keeping these potatoes in the proper condition for these fry plants. Maine has become a very big player in this, especially in the Northeast plants. I started out on the Maine potato board for 7, 8 years. I ended up chairing it for 2, and I got done that in the early 2000s. And then I went on to the United States Potato Board, or Potatoes USA now it's called, and it was a tremendous experience. I was on that for 7 years. I traveled a lot. I ended up chairing it for 1 year and met the most incredible group of people. Farmers are the same in all of North America. We have much the same challenges, much the same benefits, but things are also very, very different. We've been involved in Farm Credit since the late 80s. We borrowed money with them to purchase storages on the beginning, and now they are our primary lender. I'm doing this because I'm very interested in the credit system. They've been very convenient for our operation, flexible. I've been in the dairy farming end of it. I've been on the logging end of it. I've been on the potato and vegetable end of it and small grains. Got a wide range and interest in all of these businesses and enjoy every one of them.
Also running for seat 2 in the Eastern Region is James Robbins II.
I'm James Robbins from Robbins Lumber Company in Searsmont, Maine. This is a family-run business. We were started in 1881. I'm the 5th generation to work here. I work here with my brother and my sister. We produce eastern white pine lumber. We saw it right from the log into lumber. We dry it, plane it, and ship it all over the United States. We also have a distribution yard in Halifax, Canada, Robbins Distribution. We manage 28,000 acres of timberland, and we also recently completed a power plant, Georges River Energy, where we're burning biomass wood chips, producing power, putting it onto the electrical grid as well. We've been customers of Farm Credit since the early 1980s. The lumber industry has a unique lending cycle. We log our logs in the wintertime, and we need that extra source of capital, and Farm Credit understands that, and they work with our business. I went to school at University of Maine at Orono for 4 years, where I was a past president of Alpha Gamma Rho, the agricultural fraternity. I am a past president of the Maine Wood Products Association. We are active members of the Northeast Lumber Manufacturers Association. I'm very active in our local church, and I'm a past assistant scoutmaster for our local Boy Scout troop in Searsmont. It was an honor for me to be on the Farm Credit East Board of Directors for 2 years. I have some of the training already completed that I can bring to the board and hit the ground running. I would bring to the Farm Credit East Board of Directors my manufacturing experience in the lumber side of the business. I think it's important to also have manufacturing represented on the Farm Credit East Board of Directors. There is currently not an elected director from the forest products industry, and I think that's important diversity to have on the board.
One candidate is running for the Central Region seat. Running for the Central Region seat is Lori Griffin.
Hi, I'm Lori Griffin. I'm running for the board of directors. A little bit about myself, my background. Grew up on a registered Holstein farm in central New York. Went to school at Cornell, where I met my husband. So the rest is kind of history, as they say. But right after school, I did have a little varied background. I went off to Boston. I worked for the Market Administrator's Office in Federal Order 1. And then I came back to Albany and worked 5 years for the State Senate and Legislative Dairy Commission. And then I came full-time to the operation here with Steve and his dad in 1992. We are now close to 700 acres, growing all the northern species of grasses, bluegrass, fescues. We also have diversified into a couple of different things, primarily corn and soybeans, grow about another 600 acres of those for rotation. And we also do a kind of retail bag called the Big Yellow Bag. It's a retail soil business. Office operations and sales is my primary daily responsibility. Farm Credit was very instrumental in helping us get started. Obviously financially, but as well as the consultant business. I often say to this day that Don Rogers was probably the biggest reason that we were able to move forward through the generational change and make it work. As far as my involvement in Farm Credit, I started out being on the Customer Service Council for many years, certainly participating in different conferences and things that Farm Credit would host. So having served 2 terms on the board, I certainly want to continue in my leadership roles. I often hear people say, the first term typically you listen, you learn. The second term you serve and you participate. And then you have an opportunity to lead. And that's kind of where I'm at this point, and I would certainly like to continue to serve and help lead our organization into, just celebrate 100 years into the next 100 years and all the changes that go with it.
Now, let's meet the 2 candidates running for the seat from the Western Region. Running for the Western Region seat is Peter Call.
My name's Peter Call, and I farm here with my 2 brothers, Nate and Phil, in Batavia, New York. We operate farms in Genesee, Livingston, and Orleans counties. We grow peas and beans and carrots and cabbage and red beets that usually end up in a can or in a freezer bag. And all our potatoes that we grow end up in a potato chip bag. We also grow corn, wheat, oats, rye, and alfalfa. The areas around here can be very hot and dry for a 3 to 4 week period that puts a lot of stress on our vegetable crops. So we've invested a lot of money into center pivot irrigation, which helps us keep these crops going during those stressful periods. And we are very firm believers in cover crops, and we always try to modify our tillage practices and other fertilizer practices so that we can enhance soil health in the long run. I currently serve on the board of directors of Seneca Foods, which is a large fruit and vegetable packaging company. I'm a member of Farm Fresh First and sit on their board of directors, and that is a group of fruit and vegetable growers from Western New York that supply fruit and vegetables and other services to the processing fruit and vegetable market. I am on the board of trustees of Genesee Community College, and I also sit on the board of United Memorial Medical Center, which is our local hospital here in Batavia. I am on the board of directors of Farm Credit. I serve as chair of the governance committee, and I'm also a member of the executive committee and the compensation committee. I think I bring experience as a board member, and I have a history of working in various types of agriculture. We used to be a dairy farm, and our neighbors are a strong dairy area, and we work with them with our crop rotations and trying to be a good neighbor with everyone. And I think that makes me qualified to represent all of the members of Farm Credit East.
Also running for the Western Region seat is David Votipka.
My name is David Votipka. I'm a 2nd generation vegetable and cash crop farmer. I went to Cornell University, graduated in 1985 with a degree in vegetable crops. The farm was started with potatoes. We don't grow potatoes anymore, but we still do grow vegetables and field grain. Our sales business is Springwater Ag Products. We sell chemistry to farmers, anything that you can put in a tank I consult with those people as well. We are Seedway grain dealers, and we sell corn, soybean, and wheat seed, as well as forage seed. My dad was on Farm Credit Board for 19 years, and of course, as a young man, I always observed him going away and coming back. So outside of Farm Credit, I've been involved with my local Lions Club, Wayland Lions Club. I've been the president of that. I have been a Little League coach for my son. I have done Cornell Vegetable Crop Research Committee for IPM. I have been the MC for the Upstate Potato Advisory Committee for 30 years. In my agricultural business, we deal with a lot of smaller growers, and I think I could bring my aspect to the board. I know there is a lot of big growers, and we obviously need big growers, but there are a lot of small growers. And I think I can help communicate maybe with some of the medium and small size growers. Also, when my father became ill in the year 2000, Farm Credit really helped me with the transition. My dad became so ill I couldn't communicate with him. I was very worried, I was stressed, and after I left the Farm Credit office, I'll never forget it, I had my credit line, I had everything transferred into my name. We went through the whole process, and I would not be sitting here, I personally believe it, if that had not happened, and that only happened because of Farm Credit. That to me is how much Farm Credit means to me and why I want to give back to Farm Credit.
These are the qualified individuals who ask for your vote in the 2019 director election. For more details on this year's candidates, refer to your annual meeting information statement or visit farmcrediteast.com. When you receive your ballot in the mail, please complete and return it right away. Your vote demonstrates your support to the candidates and to Farm Credit East as a customer-owned cooperative. In closing, we thank this year's retiring directors Diane Souza and Dan Corey. Diane Souza was appointed to the board as an outside director in 2015. Drawing on her background in financial management, Diane provided thoughtful insights during board discussions. Also retiring from the board is Dan Corey. Dan was first elected to the Farm Credit of Maine board in 1999 and was instrumental in the association's merger with Farm Credit East. He has always been an effective advocate for farm credit and strong supporter of programs that support the next generation of producers. Diane and Dan, thank you for your service to our cooperative.